This is an outrage of unspeakable proportions, President Obama declared today as he pinned the blame for the downing of Malaysian Airlines Flight 17 on pro-Russian separatists in Ukraine. And he joined calls for an international investigation to make sure, he said, the truth comes out. However, in the last hour, a team of international monitors have been unable to gain access to the crash site. Reports claim shots were fired in the air to stop them reaching it. 298 people were on board the downed aircraft. The majority, 189, came from the Netherlands. 44, including all 15 crew, were from Malaysia. 27 were from Australia and 10 were from the United Kingdom. Other passengers came from Germany and Belgium, from Indonesia and the Philippines, the USA, Canada and New Zealand. We'll be live from eastern Ukraine in a moment, but first our international editor Lindsay Hilson has the latest.
Who could have thought, boarding a plane in Amsterdam, heading for Kuala Lumpur, that their life would end like this? Scattered across a field in eastern Ukraine, victims of a war in which they played no part. To investigators, this is evidence of what happened. To the families of the passengers on Flight MH17, it's evidence of a different kind, of 298 individual lives, gone in a few seconds, ended in a field far from home. Emergency workers did what they could today. Move behind the major, go slowly, he says. They picked their way through the sunflowers of all things, but there's no sign of life. No one could survive what appears to be a direct hit from a surface-to-air missile.
It was about 5 p.m. There was a very loud rumble from a plane, then a sort of explosion, and people started falling from the sky. They were appearing right from the clouds. Then the plane's fuselage appeared and landed there, 50 meters from here. People were falling all over the place. On the rooftops, there's a person on the tarmac, and 4 women's bodies in the garden, and another over there.
We heard a noise, it sounded like explosions. We thought we were being shelled, but when we ran out we saw a part of a plane falling over our house. There were parts of the plane in the yard, there were different papers there too. We also found this piece of a credit card of an American bank.
Circumstantial evidence suggests that Russian-backed rebels may have been responsible. Last month, rebels said they captured from the Ukrainian military a Russian-made Buk surface-to-air missile launcher. Unlike shoulder-launch systems, it can shoot down planes flying above 20,000 feet. On Monday, the rebels said they had downed a Ukrainian military transporter at 21,000 feet. They didn't say with what. Yesterday, a Buk launcher was filmed at Snizhnya. Eyewitnesses saw it travelling through other nearby villages. Flight MH17 crashed at 5 p.m, about 15 miles from where the Buk launcher was last spotted. Today, unverified footage from Ukraine shows a Buk launcher missing 2 of its 4 missiles. The Ukrainian government says it was heading towards Russia. This morning, the Ukrainian government presented what they say are intercepts of a Russian intelligence officer and a rebel commander discussing downing the plane.
Только что сбили самолет, группа минера за Янакиева упал. Сейчас поехали.
The self-proclaimed governor of the breakaway Donetsk region denies involvement.
Нет техники, с помощью которой можно сбить самолет на высоте 10 тысяч метров.
Russian planes on exercise. The defense ministry in Moscow is pointing the finger at Ukrainian forces.
According
to the information of the Russian Defense Ministry, there is a unit of the Ukrainian army in the area of the catastrophe that has Buk M1 air defense missile systems.
In Moscow, thousands turned out to commemorate a saint of the Orthodox Church. President Putin was there with the Patriarch. He's in a difficult position now. If Ukrainian rebels did shoot down the plane, it may be a sign that he's lost control of forces that he created. He's trying to sound conciliatory.
It's terrible. It's a tragedy. We proceed from the premise that peace in Ukraine must prevail as soon as possible, and direct contact between all fighting parties must be made as soon as possible. All sides of the conflict must immediately stop military action and begin peace talks.
Local emergency teams combed through the fields where Flight MH17 met its end. Monitors from the Organisation for Security and Cooperation in Europe couldn't reach the site today. Without international investigators, it will be increasingly difficult to provide answers for the relatives of the passengers, for whom the conflict in Ukraine is no longer something they might watch on the TV news, but a personal tragedy.